Gauteng Economic Development MEC Lebogang Maile has warned that the province is in debt. He says this is mostly due to households failing to honor obligations with municipalities. Maile was presenting an update on municipal finances for the first half of the 2025-2026 year. Gauteng Provincial Treasury HOD Ncumisa joins us right now to give us more perspective on this issue. Ncumisa, good to have you on the program this evening. So firstly, MEC Maile has highlighted that Gauteng's municipal debt has now hit, 165 billion rand. In your view, what are the top three drivers of this crisis, and how much of it is due to governance failure versus economic pressure on residents?
Good evening, Nhlanhla, and thank you for having me on your show. There are a couple of issues, as you've correctly indicated, is that, the economic situation is not helping in the country. We know that our unemployment rate is quite high because the debt that you're looking at, more than 70% of it relates to households. And, there are elements because despite all of that, there are credit control policies that need to be implemented, and some of them probably not as effective as they should. And also, we've highlighted instances where some of the aspects, when there are illegal connections, someone is not charged for it, but eventually the electricity or the water would have been consumed, and the state will have to cover those costs. So, what we also refer to is water losses. So when there are burst pipes, those things are lost in the process. But then other aspects would be commercial. And if we can improve service delivery, then we could see businesses, some of them pay, some of them, because they are unhappy with the service delivery in terms of the water outages that we're currently experiencing. Some areas still experience issues of load reduction. And what eventually happens, some business forums, or in the absence of business forums, some organized business, they will keep the money in the escrow account as a means of trying to force the municipalities to improve service delivery. So the money is sitting in there, but the improvement on the side of the municipality will assist those businesses to pay over the monies into the bank accounts of the municipalities. So it's a mixture, as you've correctly indicated, that governance issues are there, but also the fact that the economic situation is not great, and some are not able to pay. So we have those consumers that are unable to pay, but there are those consumers that are unwilling to pay because of the deterioration in the service delivered by the municipalities.
Ncumisa, also interesting is that the MEC revealed that officials and councillors themselves owe millions in rates and taxes. How did the province even allow this to continue unchecked for so long?
I think not that it hasn't been unchecked, but it's more about, because as the province, we exercise oversight. So we look at all the aspects. So as much as we monitor the debt as far as the businesses, but we also asked ourselves, what is the state? So it was us trying to improve issues of governance in the municipality, because it is legislation doesn't allow that the office bearers in the municipalities to owe. Hence, we accelerated this matter to the speaker together with the mayors to make sure that these accounts are up to date. And so it's a matter of them implementing their credit control policy as well, and being the ones who are actually paying the salary. So we know those particular officials and the councillors do earn a salary. So we can't say it's an issue of unemployment, but it's about the municipality actually implementing and coming up with payment plans, because the amounts are quite huge. So it's not an amount that could be settled at one go, but payment plans need to be agreed, and look at how informed by the policies of the various municipalities. What are their debt collection, when you are owed monies by your own employees? So probably taking it out of their salaries on an agreed payment plan that would have been put in place.
Yeah. Let's also unpack this. The city of Johannesburg alone is owed 72 million rand by officials. What message does this then send to ordinary residents who are being disconnected for non-payment?
It's not the greatest of messages, but what we're trying to say in terms of our oversight, no one is above the law. If you owe the municipality, they connect you to their system and their infrastructure and provide your services, then you have an obligation to pay. So regardless of whether you work for the municipality or not, hence we are putting it out there that, you know what, we are not discriminating. We're not only chasing the public out there, but we are also being strict so that, in some eyes, it's not a good image, I must say, and it borders on governance issues, because this is something that internally can be resolved by the respective municipalities because they have access to the salaries of these various individuals.
Yeah. Ncumisa, the MEC or the department has spoken about possibly docking the salaries of defaulting officials. Let's speak to this. Has legal advice been sought here? And when can the public realistically expect this to be implemented?
The legal advice has been sought, and we know that we are governed by various pieces of legislation, because before you can start doing that, you need to make sure that acknowledgement of debt is signed. So sometimes that's where the delays are, that you find that sometimes officials evade the process of actually signing those acknowledgement of debt, and therefore legally you can't start docking salaries without securing that signature. And we've also sought legal advice, which we're still awaiting for, in terms of should that not materialize, what is the recourse for the municipality as far as recovering their monies.
Yeah, but beyond salary docking, what concrete consequences will councillors and senior officials face if they continue to default, especially those owing over 100,000 rand?
As a province, we are bringing this to their attention because, as you are aware, that we have 3 spheres of government which are all autonomous. So we can only advise the mayor and the speaker to implement, for example, the debt, the credit control in terms of switching off the houses of those municipalities, of those councillors, but also what are the internal policies of the municipalities as far as dealing with their respective employees. So your HR policies in the municipalities, that's what will need to kick in. Unfortunately, province can't go in and implement that because it's a separate sphere of government. Our role is to exercise oversight, bringing it to their attention and making sure that, so we continue to monitor this, and it's something that we are bringing it to their attention. And like any other, we've seen instances, as far as the Constitution is concerned, there are powers that reside also with the Minister of Finance in terms of what it can do when he sees perpetual financial mismanagement in the municipality. So those are some of the matters that if we see that there is no improvement, we bring it to the attention of the Minister of Finance to implement whatever is at his disposal to try and force the municipalities to act on this.
Yeah. As we wrap up our conversation, there's also been a mention of a naming and shaming. How will this be done fairly, really, and lawfully? And do you believe it will genuinely change behavior?
I think generally we're all creatures of self-preservation, and also your self-dignity becomes very important. But before we can do that, as you correctly say, there are issues of the popular. We can't just name and shame. we need to make sure that is we are trying to correct bad behavior, but we also don't do wrong and contravene legislation on our side. So we hope we're not going to get there, because we hope the mayors and the speakers will heed the call and take the necessary corrective action against those officials and also those councillors that are owning their own respective municipalities. So as you correctly say, there will have to be a review on the legal side of things in terms of us. And I would assume that as a starting point, that's something that will need to be done by the respective municipality before the province actually takes those actions. But those are some of the recommendations that we are making to the municipality.
Ncumisa Mnyani, thank you so much for your time, also giving us perspective over this contentious issues of defaulting payments for rates and services as well, giving us the province's own approach to how they'll be recouping some of this money.